True wireless earbuds. No ANC, no multipoint, no wireless charging, no in-ear sensor. At $360, the Noble Audio Fokus Mystique might still be worth it for many of you. Let's talk about the features, some annoyances we had, and then the sound. We'll also compare it to a couple of other audiophile true wireless buds.
Now, in terms of the design, these are very IEM-like, right? So they are a secure fit, I'll give them that. They fit well in your ear. They're kind of large, as you can see. They stick out a bit from the ears. And the Svanar, for example, are also large, but they kind of fit snug and are way lighter. You get 6 tips in the box. You have 3 normal single flange ones and 3 double flange ones. More on those in the sound section. Now, in terms of IP rating, this.
In the battery life department, they advertise 7.5 hours. We got an hour more, 8.5 hours on a single charge. Not bad. And on the same theme, there's also a colorblind friendly battery indicator, and we're all for it. And the case is made out of some premium materials, metal. But did they run out of budget? Because the hinge is weak sauce. And the buds have that IEM look with a 3D printed custom housing and a Noble Art faceplate. Looks subtle and quite nice. And we really like that you get a velvet soft pouch to protect the buds and the case and all those premium materials that went into making them.
The nozzle diameter is a bit bigger than most true wireless earbuds, and I started feeling it, especially in my left ear, after about 30 minutes. And if you compare that with something like the Sennheiser Momentum, which is also like not really a small one, you clearly see a difference. The Noble is definitely chunkier, and that small size difference, it matters when you wear these earbuds for a longer period of time. It has capacitive touch, so these surfaces, you can touch them. You can do most of the things you need to. There's also volume control with a triple tap. Now, again, with that comfort issue which I was saying, the bigger, nozzle, combined with that, the triple tap, it just doesn't feel so great.
And these buds, they actually come with an app, and you get a 10-band equalizer in the app. You can also do a lot of sound personalization, and you get 6 EQ presets included. Although there's no ANC on these buds, there is an ambient mode, but it's very ordinary. It mainly just relieves that feeling of being plugged. We'd probably slot it in around tier B or C. And these buds also come with microphones. I mean, it's probably not gonna make or break your purchase decision, but here are the popsicles, icicles, and test.
So here we go. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Let's talk about some of the annoyances that I have with the Noble Audio Fokus Mystique. But first off, putting the ear tips on, it's not super easy. Look, I'm putting it on right now, and it's kind of a struggle. And if you're not changing them often, that's fine. I struggled because I have actually had to measure these and use the single flange one and the double flange, and oh man, this is super annoying. It's actually a bit more pressure on camera. I do it faster than this, I promise. Anyway, so that was one annoying bit. They have this kind of transparency or noise cancelling mic here, this small little hole. But if you cover it, it starts screeching, which is kind of super annoying. That's another thing. When you take these buds out of the case, they don't turn on by themselves. So you have to take them out of the case, put them in your ear, long press, and then they come on. Then there's this ambient mode. There is just so much white noise. It's almost like being at the beach on a calm day. I half expected to hear seagulls. There's so much of whooshing and washing happening there. And we talked about how good that transparency is. Now, the battery also was a major issue for me. So it has this kind of colorblind friendly battery indicator with 4 LEDs in the front. But I had an issue for a couple of days now where the battery kept saying that it was low, even though the case indicator was showing fully charged. And actually you need to get these lights to show that the buds are being charged. I'm not sure if you see that, but yeah, lights on the extreme end.
If the 4 lights are on, it means nothing. So the buds are actually not being charged for a couple of days. I don't know what is going on with that. So I got 1 dot on this LED showing that the case was not fully charged. I plugged it in, it instantly jumped to 3. I don't know what that was all about. Turned out that the battery on the buds was low. Another annoyance is that the voice notifications are super loud. You can't change the volume of those voice notifications. You can just disable the voice prompts. Very annoying.
So, what about the sound? Does it have dreamy harmonies, rhythms, and melodies expressed? Well, first off, they're very loud. Less than 40% for me was already loud. It supports the Qualcomm stack, so there's aptX adaptive codec on board. In the hardware department, there's a tripper driver arrangement, 1 dynamic and 2 balanced armatures.
Well, the sound is warm, almost dark, but that bass smashes. And it was interesting enough that I was lost in that dark smashing bass. Look, as a non-audiophile, do I appreciate the sound? Yes, I do. But I must say that for the stock tuning, these are a bit heavy on the bass. Single flange tips and the double flange tips actually didn't make any difference in sound except in like the higher treble. You can see it on this graph as well, and I don't know if it's placebo effect, but I did prefer the single flange. The treble sounded less thin. Now I tested this on aptX as well as aptX adaptive. On the Samsung aptX, I found that the mids were very recessed. I used Exile by Pineapple Thief as a test track. And the drums and especially the toms were the most forward in the mix. And the treble is clean, but it was not as forward as the Svanar, for example. And to my ears, and this is in opposition to what I'm reading online, these sounded a bit narrow, not as wide. On aptX adaptive as well, it was pretty much the same, slight difference in resolution, but bass is like very present. But I want to clarify that it's not like a loose, uncontrolled bass. It's turned up in the mix. That's what it is. So it doesn't bloat, as in it doesn't last for too long and drown everything else. But of course, things like voices and lead instruments do get a bit suppressed in the mix. The mids sound really nice. There are no timbre issues here. The treble can be a bit on the spicy side, but it never really overpowers. But the balance for music, that is, subtle, it's just off. So the guitars and vocals are like way off in the background. Now, if you can deal with the bass, or if you're out and about, you may actually enjoy this. And surprisingly, it worked very well for metal. It was quite decent for hip hop as well. But that's the sound out of the box. You can EQ these with the 10-band EQ. I thought it responded really well to EQ, and there's also a hearing test in the app, which gave me some strange results, I must say. But it is there if you need it. So make of that what you will.
The Noble Audio Fokus Mystique are a fantastic sounding set of wireless earbuds. Very loud, and when it comes to sound, they're right up there. Even though I thought they weren't perfect, they've added more than enough in the way of customizability. When you get to the higher prices, you're not just looking for technical prowess or one golden sound signature, but a variety of options. I mean, we don't eat the same thing for every meal, so why have the same kind of sound? At $360 for wireless earbuds that don't offer noise cancelling and a very basic transparency mode, for me it would be a hard pass. Purely for sound, these are more my speed than the Hifiman Svanar, which are less bass focused, offer no app for sound customization, but those are lighter, more comfortable, and offer ANC, which is actually decent.
For about $100 or $150 less, you can also get the Campfire Orbit. Right? It's the same deal. Audiophile company, also audio focused, but at least they don't pretend to have a transparency mode, and they also give you extensive EQ options in the app. Also touch customization, and they're much smaller and more comfortable. They also have very distinct flavor with a weird recession in the upper mid-range that can thankfully be fixed using their first-party EQ. And again, the cheap person that I am, I'd probably save the $100 and get those. But here's the thing, I'd probably not buy an audiophile brand at all, but a regular audio brand, because I am not an audiophile. Having said that, even to my aging years, the Noble Audio still has distinct advantages over the other two we've talked about. And if you're not fussed about all the annoyances and the connectivity problems and the switching them on when you take them out of the case, etc., I think you'll be pretty satisfied with these when they do work. While we do accept contributions from you, our lovely YouTube members and patrons, we do not accept any kind of payments from companies whose products we review. So thank you guys for being our true supporters.
And now a special shout out to our Funkman tier members, Hunter and Paula. Thank you so much. You've been involved with Nobility.
And we've been DHRME.
Dewey.
Dewey.
But here are the popsicles, icicles, and of the microphones, as always.